everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Fourtress of, a podcast about movies and TV shows and video games and lots of pop culture nerd things. My name is Oscar. I'll be one of your hosts today. And with me, per usual, are two of your other hosts today. He's back
What
after,
up?
2-3 weeks or something?
I'm back.
Alex is back. Brian is also here as well, which
I typically am. More often than not. It's okay. I'm fine with it.
should also be celebrated equally.
I appreciate it. It means a lot to me.
Yeah, how you guys doing? Alex, it's been a while.
Yeah,
Missed a
yeah.
couple movies, but
I haven't
you
seen
got a baby?
anything yet.
You're never gonna see a movie.
Thinking about sneaking into the theater over the holiday pretty soon, when everybody else is at home or something,
Right, catch a
when
quiet
it's
night.
super empty. Yeah.
I was talking to my parents about that. Maybe see Black Panther again.
Yeah, I definitely
Cool.
think I want to see it again. Cool. Yeah. I mean, we got a pretty interesting week this week. Listeners, if this is titled Minisode, it's a Minisode.
If it's not, mind your business. Doesn't matter.
All right, with that, guys, should we now move on to our first segment of the week?
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
News talk.
First of all, listeners, if you want to skip ahead to anything or avoid spoilers or anything like that, check the time codes for all that. Now, here we can begin. First piece of news, man. After last week, we had some somber news. It continued this week where we had another childhood hero, at least of mine, pass away literally today. Jason David Frank, as most people would know as the original green/red, not original red, original white, and then also was 2 Red Rangers, and then a return as a Black Ranger years later. 5 in total Power Rangers.
It's the OG.
Yeah, he passed away at the fucking way too soon at the age of 49. It sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks.
I mean, we talk about how it's like one of your heroes growing up. We had the VHS of like his karate tapes that he put out in the 90s because me and my brother were like super into it. I mean, Power Rangers is a millennials. Like, I don't know, like everyone, I feel like knew Power Rangers growing up. So
It was everything.
90s babies
everything.
are in unison crying over the internet right now.
And then just knowing Jason David Frank as like a person, it's like he was going to conventions like consistently, even like all these years later, and he was about it.
Yeah.
Like he was one of the few people that were like really still about Power Rangers as a whole. There was a time that he like randomly stopped an active shooter that was like setting out to kill police officers and also
Wow.
him. At one
Jesus.
point at a convention, like the man's a local
Because
hero.
he actually learned martial arts and he
Yeah,
went into the MMA and stuff. He didn't have a great career, but like he wanted and loved doing this, and also loved Power Rangers. Like
Yeah.
he wholeheartedly loved Power Rangers.
Yeah, it's not often that you see a lot of people like, I don't know, really feel so genuine when it comes to like loving their craft like that. You know what I mean? Especially
Right,
like, it's
sure.
something like that where it's like being in Grey's Anatomy or something like that. That it's like it's just Power Rangers, man. But like, no, he full sent it. Like he put his all into
Yeah.
it every single time.
I was lucky enough to actually have met him in person
Oh yeah,
in 2018. I was gifted a ticket to New York Comic Con at the time, and I didn't know he was going to be there. It was just a surprise. I was like, oh, cool. I've never been to a Comic Con. Well, yeah, we'll go. And then I saw the guest list, and Momoa was going to be there. Jason Momoa. I was like, oh, that's dope. Blah, blah, blah. Kept scrolling, and then I saw him. I was like, I don't care about anything else. I just need to meet him.
and I know whatever it costs to meet Jason Momoa was way more than what
It was like 5 times more. Yeah, absolutely. Like as soon as we got there and I realized, oh, you got to pay to say hi to these people. I was like, all right, well, if I'm only paying for one person, I know. Sorry, Momoa, fuck off. I'm not paying for you. I am going to see the White Ranger. God damn it. And yeah, just the brief seconds I had, he was very kind. He's nice. Signed a autograph for me.
Oh, wow.
I went digging and found an old Power Ranger toy. I had him sign and took a picture with it.
Oh,
Nice.
that's awesome, man.
Yeah, he was a huge inspiration for people, man, and it sucks. I remember back in college, Alex, you might remember this. We went on a Power Ranger kick for like one night, and we were so hyped about Power Rangers that we all, I think, changed our Facebook
Oh,
profile
yeah.
It's a fucking
pictures.
Red Ranger shit. And y'all made me
Green
do it
Ranger.
too. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was great.
it
That
was
a good time.
amazing.
I was forced to do that as well, and I was not even into it. I was like, "What's going on here?"
Yeah. It sucks. We didn't say how he passed. Reported it was a suicide. So that's also a different layer that also sucks. And so
And a really
he
big
was gone
thing
way too soon.
that we need
Yeah.
to really understand that mental health is important and it matters a lot.
Yes.
And a lot of people struggle from it, no matter where you come from. Like I'm sure he wasn't poorly off, but that doesn't mean that you don't still struggle with those kind of issues. They don't have anything to do with wealth
Exactly.
and things like that. So It's
Right.
one of those things that we definitely need to focus more on because these people, we need to help our people more.
Yeah. And especially like obviously like you only see the outer layer of people mostly. Like none of us actually know who this man was, you
Right.
Right.
know? So yeah, it's a thing to think about for everyone in the world. And yeah, gone way too fucking soon.
For sure. R.I.P. to a real OG.
Yeah. So R.I.P.
I didn't mean to laugh at the real OG thing. Just really,
I
that's
mean,
more about respect.
it's being real.
I mean, he did put he got some hands to the Power Rangers. We know way back when. That's that Green Ranger, yo.
Yeah,
Like,
nobody else jumps in a Megazord
whew.
just to beat some ass. Like that's some next level shit right there. Come on.
Yeah, like all-time arc of Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Yeah, you will be missed. All right, let's move on to some less somber pieces of news. This is a somber in a different way. This is more stupid. Brian, do you want to take over for this
Yeah,
one?
it's more of like what's the dumbest thing that you can do when you're already making a ton of money on a super big franchise, especially right now in 2022 when you're at your peak of what's going on here. And we're talking about Sonic co-creator Yuji Naka has reportedly been arrested for insider trading. So as IG in
Oof.
Japan reported, he was arrested by the Special Investigation Department of the Tokyo District Public Prosecutor's Office with two other former Square Enix employees. He allegedly bought 10,000 shares of a developer called Aiming at a value of about $20,000 ahead of the Dragon Quest Tact mobile game that they were making. And they were looking, basically, they got information that this was going to be a game that was coming out soon, and they were going to make a ton of money from it. So they did the Martha Stewart thing, and they tried to buy some stocks ahead of time, buy low, sell high. You know how it goes, boys. Let's make some
Yeah.
money, baby.
Ugh.
And they got caught. And
Right.
because of that, now him alongside two other people have now been arrested, and I don't know if he's made bond yet. To be honest, I'm not sure what's going on that end. I don't know if IGN has actually
Yeah, they
reported on that
haven't
part.
reported yet. But either way, that's nuts.
I mean, I don't even 10,000 shares based at $20,000. I don't know how successful they thought this was gonna be, but I couldn't see them coming out with more than like maybe a couple 100,000, which like sure that's a lot of money for people like you and I, but like for someone like Yuji Naka that's been making Sonic for so long, which now in 2022 has a huge
Right.
value right now, this seems like chump change. I mean, this was happening when he was working at Square Enix, so maybe he
Right.
wasn't doing so well back then, but like I don't know, man. What was the play? We all know
Yeah.
insider trading is bad, and I mean, like, if you're gonna do it, maybe do it better because obviously you didn't do it well
Right.
enough.
I want to know like who's the rat or like how to who found out?
Because people get away with this constantly, so it's like, how
Right.
did you fuck up? Like, what did you do
Yeah.
wrong? That maybe you didn't buy enough shares.
He
Maybe you didn't go
wasn't. He
through a third
wasn't
party.
fast enough. He couldn't do it.
I was waiting
He couldn't
for
do
it.
the
I knew
transaction
someone would
fast
do
enough.
it.
You know, he's
Gotta
not
go
that
fast. No, someone said he's
Uh,
doing the Sonic Adventure 2 thing right now, where he's jumping out of a helicopter, being chased by the cops. Like, oh,
wipes out.
that's one of those things. So maybe Sonic is dead, just like that. Maybe this is where
I
Sonic.
mean,
We will
like
see.
the fictional character had a hard enough time that now he's extended his reach of potential failures to real life people. That's nuts.
Listen, Sonic Frontiers is doing well right now.
It's true. It's true.
Come on,
Yeah.
bro. They got a TV show coming out in December. That's not gonna be good, but they made one.
They're doing it.
Speaking of something that potentially wasn't going to be good, Rockstar apparently turned down an offer to make a GTA Grand Theft Auto movie starring Eminem, and I am so curious as to what that would have been.
I know
This
you
could have
fucking
been.
lying.
This could have been really cool or really terrible.
Yeah,
I hope it would have been cool.
There is no world. I'm sorry. I don't believe in any existence, no timeline in Doctor Strange's world where this would have been a good movie. There's no possible way. What is Grand Theft Auto even about enough to even have? Like maybe if they did like a, I don't know, say a specific like maybe San Andreas or something like that. Okay, that's whatever. But when you say you're taking Eminem to make a movie about Grand Theft Auto, you're about to make the most generic crime movie I've ever seen before in my life about petty drugs and a white dude that lives in the hood. That's all you're about to do.
Right.
Like that shit was gonna suck. It was gonna be
And
8
it
Mile
sounds like
Part
8
2,
Mile.
right? But worse.
I don't know. I could feel. I feel like 8 Mile, the video game, would be pretty cool though. if in the right hands.
Did y'all see the Need for Speed movie with Kid
No,
Cudi
that
in
looked
it?
terrible.
No,
That movie
looked
was
terrible.
fucking garbage can. I've never seen.
Yeah.
That's not true. I've seen much worse movies, but that movie's garbage. So there's no way this would have been made in good faith. And I think Rockstar made the perfect decision by being like, no, thank you.
Mm.
Yeah, I mostly am just like curious about what great Eminem song we would have gotten at the
Oh,
credits.
God.
That's
Oh,
true.
God. You think it would have been only Eminem songs?
What did we miss out on?
It's just only his tracks. Like that's all you get.
He plays them on the radio.
You know how GTA they got some bangers on the radio you can switch to.
Yeah.
You know there would have
Yeah.
been some bang. It would have been a banging soundtrack, man.
Yep.
That's true. But I'm also.
I feel like
I'm
it could have
okay.
been good. I feel like it could have been good.
Yeah, I would have waited for that one to come out on DVD. Thanks.
Wait, they're making the game or they're making the movie?
Making a movie.
They were making a movie
Oh, wait a second.
starring Eminem, like as an actor.
That changes everything. I thought they were making a video game. I thought they were making
No,
GTA the movie, the video game.
yeah, Eminem the video game.
no, yeah, this is way back when. Yeah.
Okay, never mind. No, thank you. Next, please.
Oh, that's so funny. That is the news, everyone. We have done it again, guys. Shall we now move on to our main topic of the week?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Which we are trapped in another fortress. There's a fortress. I don't know how to describe this. It's just full of a bunch of games. About 85% of them, I don't know.
A bunch of games, a bunch of Jeff Keighley, because his face
Yes.
is gonna pop up a lot in the next couple months.
Who's gonna win?
Yeah, we're in the fortress of
I don't know, game
The
of the year,
game of the year.
nominations,
nominations. Yeah,
some
nominees.
things. It's just the talk. We're just talking.
The
It's just a
fortress. The
discussion.
fortress is game of the year. Maybe. our games of the year.
Yeah, so listeners, the Game Awards 2022 nominations all came out early last week, I think. And so yeah, we're just gonna kind of discuss some of these, mostly the Game of the Year specific ones, because for the most part, we've played at least a little bit of almost all of them.
Oh, for the game of the year.
That's a really great description. The fortress of. For the most part, we played a little bit of almost all.
We have an approximate knowledge of a
Put
lot
a
of
stamp
things.
on that right there.
Right.
We've tried some of these things. Oh,
Yeah.
I could talk forever about the one thing that I did try though.
It's like the Oscars. It's like they don't watch every movie.
No,
you know that.
Oh, I think I saw the trailer. Oh, yeah, I'll vote.
Right. Yeah, so we're just gonna go through them. We're definitely not going through every category because there are way too many, and also we do not care / know half of them. But respect to those who are nominated and win them.
Yeah,
Good
hell
for
yeah.
you.
That's great for y'all.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna start with Game of the Year, obviously.
We're gonna go straight for it. Let's go.
In our boxing ring, Alex will be representing Elden Ring, obviously. Brian will be representing Stray / Sonic from Tears.
Let's say, hold up. I'm representing Stray, Sonic Frontiers, and also Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Because how the fuck did this make it into the game of the year?
I hope Xenoblade wins. That would be fucking awesome.
All
honestly.
3 people that played that game were like, "Hell yeah, brother, that's just the best." So like, what happened here?
That's what the 3 stood for.
I think it's got like a little cult following. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
absolutely, 100%. People love Xenoblade. I even love
It
some of
is
the
it
older
is a smaller
games.
group.
But I just can't believe that like such a niche thing made it to like what? What?
Right. And then obviously I'll be representing Horizon, Forbidden West, and God of War Ragnarok.
You're picking both. You think both are gonna win? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just gonna be. That's mostly what I'll be talking about because those are the 2 out of all of these that I played. I played a little bit of Elden Ring with you, Alex.
Oh yeah.
And then I haven't touched. I want to play Stray. I just don't want to pay $40 for Stray.
That's fair.
So yeah, I'll mostly I'll be talking about the 2 that I actually played. Alex, I feel like you go first and talk a bit about Elden Ring.
I'll tell you why Elden Ring is gonna win. Yeah, I feel like this game came out last year.
It was pretty early, 2022.
It must have been, yeah. But this game has had me through some ups and downs. But it's a heavy game and it's really difficult. I'm definitely not a Souls player. Let me start by saying I didn't play any of the other Souls games. I think I played like a little bit of Dark Souls or maybe Demon Souls way back. And I was like, nope, this is not for me. This is definitely like this is impossibly hard. I think the first boss just wiped me out. I was like, I'm done. This is not fun. But I think the way the Elden Ring does the like whole exploration and like I don't know, just the way like you uncover things and the combat is interesting, but definitely challenging. I kind of play it like a sneaky wizard kind of guy.
I was gonna ask what
Right.
kind of build you running right now.
Yeah, it's evolving, but yeah, I use a lot of magic and some katanas, which is cool. If I got to get up there.
I do hear magic is pretty strong.
Yeah,
in
it's
that game.
definitely it's like the easy mode because it doesn't really have modes. It's just fucking hard always. But you can do things, I guess, or like use different strategies to make it like more like easier for you. I'm playing on easy mode. I just like I'll try to like beat somebody up, but if I just keep failing, I'm like, I'm just gonna like, fucking like just zap you a bunch, and you're
Listen,
gonna
that's
be
how
gone.
I beat the majority of Dark Souls 1 was usually just cheesing. Just being a cheesy motherfucker and just trying the most
You
dumb
have
shit.
to in those games because the game ain't fair to you either.
Right, so why should I be fair to the game?
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, so the combat is great, but the exploration it feels in a lot of ways like the best parts of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. The way you just
Right.
like kind of wander off and like are creating your own story in your head. But if you really want to dive deep, there's a big story in Elden Ring. Doesn't really make much sense to me. I'm also not very far at all. But
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, like, because we're gonna get to it maybe a little later. It's also nominated for Best Narrative.
What narrative?
Uh, I mean, I know there's like deep lore and
if
stuff,
you were to
but
like read a book about it, or like, I think it is an interesting story, like from what I've heard, but
right, right,
it's not something you can digest by just playing the game, or even just like
exactly.
playing it a
It's
bunch
like reading
maybe
the
and talking
appendix of
about it.
fucking Lord of the Rings books.
Yeah, right,
Like
right,
it
right.
doesn't
Yeah,
make any sense to like call that narrative when it's like, yeah, it's just, like you said, just deep lore where it's like it comes to the point where it's like, oh yeah, these things happen and this thing happens, but like no one tells you that in the game.
But
Everyone just
it's not a
excuse me though,
traditional
but what?
story. Yeah.
right, like everyone just kind of speaks poetry, and then you're just like, okay, I'm gonna go fight that monster now. It's like, okay,
Right,
fair, all right,
right.
whatever.
Like I got a decent amount of way through Dark Souls, and I can't tell you what the story was in
I
that
couldn't tell you
game.
a single goddamn thing, not a single plot
Like,
point in that game.
It does feel like the characters at least are talked about, and like I don't know. I've seen a bunch of things online about
Mhm.
like what the story is or whatever that I haven't played yet. But
right.
everybody's like, there's a lot of like pretty recognizable people that keep coming up.
Well, because they made it a huge deal that this was George R. R. Martin's
Yes.
story. Like he
Mhm.
wrote
Yeah,
and this is his world that he kind of
yeah.
co-created.
I think he wrote a lot of the lore and stuff.
Right.
Write your goddamn book, bro.
It's crazy.
We don't have time for this.
No, I
Yeah.
definitely do not have time for Elden. I put in like probably 40 hours,
Have you
about as
really?
much as like a normal game, almost as much as a normal game, but I'm not
Right.
anywhere close.
You said I haven't
Right.
played that much of this game. You said 40 hours.
Maybe between 40 and 30.
That's a
40
ton of
at most.
hours.
That's
That's still like yeah, that's a lot.
I think I gotta check. It feels like I'm just like scratching the
I mean, like,
surface.
yeah, the little bit that I played with you, it looked that map you pulled up is massive.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much you can just get lost and dive deep in
Right,
just your little
right,
corner. So I just like try to explore everything, but I haven't really gotten very far. But I've seen everything that's behind me. You know what I mean?
right.
Mhm.
And it's a fun game. And like I think I'll definitely want to pick it up at some point, but it's also one of those games where I'm like, I'm not super eager to get into it only because probably the one thing that's holding it back is that narrative part that it's missing for
Yeah.
me at least. Cause I feel like I'll definitely that and also obviously like the difficulty. I will hit a wall, I feel at one point, and I'm like, I don't want to I don't want to go grinding for 2 hours.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
it's not even so much grinding in that game. It's just like beating your head against a wall. Like I don't even think it's
Yeah.
about like
Right.
leveling up that makes that game easier.
I think the good thing about this is like it's so like open ended in the way that the mechanics work. So if you're like stuck at a point, you can just do something completely different. You can do
Right.
like the main story. You can do a bunch of side things. You can go exploring and like finding secrets. You don't have to
Mhm.
do anything that you're stuck on. And I mean, until it like there's certain points that you have to do or whatever.
Right.
But
Like that is the
you
big
can do
difference.
you can do come back to it
And
in a
at some point,
daze.
you're gonna hit a point
Yeah.
where you just got to get good. Like
But
Yeah,
you can't
right.
skip
Yeah.
everything. You just got to get
that's what
better.
everybody says. Yeah,
Yeah.
you just got to get good.
Which is like you clearly see how much they've improved since the first Dark Souls, where it's like, nah, you really you can try to go to other places, but those places are gonna be worse for you than where you're at most likely. So it's like you just gotta grind and get better and beat this
Oh, the
and move
overworld's
on.
not so. It's pretty hard. Let me go down to the swamp real quick.
Right. It's like, nah.
You don't ever want to go to the swamp, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's definitely like, especially in the beginning, there's like plenty of like places to just like hide out in plain sight almost.
Right, right.
So I know I'm supposed to be like defending whatever the fuck I'm defending. But here's why I think Elden Ring is going to be the one that wins Game of the Year. I'm gonna tell you guys right now. I'll be straight up with you.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think this kind of changed the way people felt about video games as a whole. I think somehow Dark Souls 1 through 3, Sekiro, all of that somehow missed everybody. Like it missed the general
Mhm.
public. It's always been a very niche game. Like Dark Souls, the Souls games have been a very like hardcore fandom that they've had, but they don't really like
Right.
span past that. For some reason, and I'm really not sure what caught on so hard, but Elden Ring just really brought the average gamer into it, which is crazy.
Honestly, I think it was the Breath of the Wild open worldness of it.
Yeah,
That had to be
yeah,
it.
that's definitely the element that like caught my attention for sure.
Mhm.
But I think for other gamers maybe, or like the general population, they had more advertising than I've seen in the average video game,
That's
albeit
true.
the like RPG based, action based games.
Right.
In New York City, Times Square, they had the biggest fucking ad. I was like,
I
what?
didn't know that. Wow.
I don't know
Yeah.
how long. I don't know how long, but I was, I don't go to Times Square
But
often.
still, like, do you remember any Sekiro advertising
No,
ever?
no,
Like,
they were.
no.
Let me tell you what, they were not in Times Square. I bet you that.
But that's what's so funny for me is like I guess I don't watch a lot of advertisement just because of the kind of media I consume. I don't fucking
Mhm.
like no ads, boy, and also don't have cable or anything like that. And also have
Right.
ad blocker on everything because
Oh my gosh.
fucking ad.
I got the
Right.
cheap version of everything, so I can see all.
Yeah, I do be getting ads on Hulu. It'd be the exact same 3 ads every
Yeah.
single day, and I hate it with my whole being.
Yeah.
But yeah, most of it was like the word of mouth of this game was so interesting to just see people like see new players really experience things that like we all know because we played Dark Souls 1, and then see them being like, "Did you know that the first boss beats your ass?" And it's like, yeah, that's how Dark Souls works. I don't know what to say. It's like, what's going on? It's like just to have like such a gatekeepy game be so like
For
it's
sure.
not even accessible. I wouldn't even call it accessible of a game, but people just were so interested in wanting to play it. Just really mess with a lot of people in a very interesting way
Yeah.
to make it kind of the talk of the town. I think a lot of people learned video games differently because I know personally I'm getting older. I'm not very good at video games anymore. Probably better than the average person, but still like I'm definitely getting lesser at it. So I don't like to play really hard games anymore. So to see people like that don't play hard games play the hardest game they could possibly find and then enjoy it is the
Right,
weirdest thing
yeah.
ever.
I've played games that are hard, but the way they approach their difficulty in Elden Ring, I think it's a very approachable game. If you play video games, it shouldn't be your first video game, but if you already play video games,
It's not baby's first game.
no, it's not. It can't. Yeah, but I think it's approachable. It's difficult and it's challenging for sure.
Right.
And at a certain point, for an average person, they probably like call it quits. Like I'm not finishing this game.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
I think the combat and the general mechanics and all of it is pretty approachable because there's not a lot of like menu things or like text to get lost in. You just go and you do.
Are you serious? Their menu system has always been like one of the
Oh, well,
worst
yeah.
parts
I
of
mean,
I
them.
do
yeah,
hate their
there
menu
is,
system a
there
whole
is,
lot.
there is. Yeah, you have to, but it's all some like stuff you do like on your own. I guess there's not
Yeah,
like
right,
a bunch
right.
of things popping up on you.
I mean, I always loved their style of combat. I know like some people hate like how kind of brutal it is, but like that's what I loved about the first Dark Souls, and like I was directly comparing it at the time to Skyrim because they were somewhere around the same time,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
the melee combat of Skyrim being such utter
Floaty
garbage,
bullshit, yeah.
and then picking up Dark Souls, I was like, oh my god, this feels so good.
I mean, that's the thing, and a lot of people will probably try to disagree with me, but that's because they're bad. Get good, scrub. It's not the combat's not unfair. It's hard. It's really hard, and there's a learning curve
Right.
that's really, really high.
Right.
So you're gonna die
Yeah.
a lot, but it's not unfair. You know, it's like there's a lot of shit like in games where it's like,
Mhm.
oh, I got cheated. Like this doesn't feel good because like I'm getting
Right.
hit in
Yeah.
invincibility frames and stuff like that, so I die instantly. Shit like that. It just doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
The game
yeah.
doesn't really necessarily have that so much. So it's like, yeah, I died because I made a mistake. I messed up this series of events.
It's
Right.
almost
happened.
always when I get like a little bit cocky. I'm like,
Mhm.
I got you now. I'm like,
I don't need to roll right here. I'll just go ahead and hit him 3 more times. Oop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Should've rolled.
just get a little bit. You even think about getting greedy in Elden Ring, and you're already dead.
And you're
Yeah.
punished instantly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean,
Absolutely.
it brings back to that like old school version of gaming that like I think at this point a lot of people haven't like been
It is kind of
introduced to
old school
anymore.
vibes. Yeah,
Yeah,
You're
where they
absolutely-
don't
Yeah.
really explain much to you. You don't really know what you're doing when you first
Right.
start.
Or anything.
Yeah. I mean, one of the first things in the game that a lot of people didn't even notice, they didn't even know there was a tutorial at the beginning.
Yeah,
Right.
Because everyone skipped it.
I think I almost missed it, but I feel like I missed like a portion of it. I don't know. There's a lot that you could miss.
Right.
And that's so funny. Because when's the last game you've played before Elden Ring that like, I mean, every game I play just tells you exactly what to do at all times.
I'm telling you guys, Breath of the Wild. It's literally Elden
Right.
Ring 0.0.
Yeah. Right.
Like you couldn't have Elden Ring before
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild. You'd have like a different something that ended in soul. It would be it wouldn't be Dark Souls.
It'd be Elden Souls.
Yeah.
No, I hate it.
Elden Souls, yeah.
Actually, that sounds kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty sick.
Coming soon. No, but Breath of the Wild, I changed the format and like the mechanics of just being in a game. But the way the thing that Miyazaki is doing with the Souls games and the combat and stuff and the way you like progress is very different. So kind of together,
Right.
Elden.
Sometimes you put peanut butter and cheese together, and it tastes good. I don't know. It doesn't make sense, but it tastes good.
There we go.
Look, I'll go by and say this as well. I definitely think it's probably going to win as well.
Mhm.
I think it's going to be close between this and God of War, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll talk about God of War, and I'll tell you why it won't be the winner.
Okay.
I want to see an underdog win though. I feel like anybody that's not Elden Ring or God of War is the underdog, even though there's some like big,
there's some
maybe
phenomenal
one other
games
huge
on
budget
there.
ones.
But I think the only thing that maybe Elden Ring has going against it is its release date. It's a lot like
Yes.
God of War is a lot fresher in people's minds right now.
It's forgotten, but I don't know. People still play the hell out of Elden Ring, man. People
Oh
still
yeah, no,
love it.
absolutely. I still think it's probably the top contender, most likely. Also because God of War won one Game of the Year.
Yeah.
I don't know if the sequel
true.
will win it. Just like you know how some people are weird about those type of things,
like
you know?
politically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Gotta think about the politics.
Which
Unfortunately,
well, yeah, we'll talk about God of War. I'll talk about God of War in a second. So, Brian, do you want to quickly tell us about Sonic and Stray?
Quickly.
Sonic.
No, I got a
Stray.
whole hour to talk about
Well, you-
Sonic. Wait a second. I'll talk about Stray. We'll save Sonic for another time.
Listeners, Sonic wasn't nominated in case you're not getting the joke.
It should have been, and it's some bullshit, and I will write because
Wait,
that
did you
8.5
play,
out of
did you play Sonic? Did I miss a
did I play
rant
Sonic?
last
I didn't just play Sonic. I've 100%ed Sonic Frontiers.
Holy shit.
I've completed that game and all of its
You've
I didn't
already
know it came
completed
out
it?
yet.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it came out November
That's
8th.
amazing.
And then
Holy
of
shit.
course God of War came out November 9th because fucking whatever they want that.
That's
Trump
why
me.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Kind of disrespectful. Not gonna lie.
We're gonna come out the next day. Smash.
Yeah, only one good game came out that week, and it was not God of War. But no, Stray.
Okay, yeah.
We're not talking about Sonic. Don't let me do this.
I got questions.
We can't. We don't have enough time in the episode.
Can't get into it. Okay.
No, Stray was a crazy indie game that I heard about, like, it feels like years and years ago, that I kept seeing the same fucking, I don't know, it was not even an advertisement, it's like a TikTok about this game coming out about playing as a cat. It just showed the same, like, footage of a cat just walking across, like, a power line or something down on, like, a city. And I was like,
Right.
man, this game sounds awesome. Like, I would love to play a game as
Vibes
plays
are right.
a cat. Right. Like, the vibes just sound right. And, I have cats. I like cats.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, this sounds
game,
awesome.
This game is a total vibe. I have not played it yet, but I really would like to.
Would highly recommend it to honestly almost anybody, whether you play games or not. And that's what's so interesting about this game.
That's a very good point. That whole like idea.
Yeah, similar to Elden Ring, it's just one of those games that just like we're getting to a point where we're very oversaturated in gaming. So we've seen a lot of stuff already. You know what I mean? We've gotten to the point where we've seen almost everything. So when you can make a game that's so unique that you haven't seen it before, especially I've been playing games for, I don't know, 26 years at this point, that's something special. And this game Stray is just something special because they could have easily just made a game where you just walk around as a cat and that be the end of it. But no, they put so much effort into actually feeling like you are a real cat in this world that just, it's just hard to explain compared to other things where it's like, yeah, you just could have made a cat and made him walk and whatever. But like your cat purrs, your cat scratches furniture. There's a meow button that you can use at all times to the point that I spammed it through every single cutscene possible because I'm a dick and I hate my life. I have footage of it too because I don't know, whatever. I decided to do it. So whenever the cutscene popped up, I just spam that circle button. Meow, 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 meow. Like a little dick the whole time.
Why wouldn't you? Yeah.
And then even on top of that, like the story that it tells, because of course your character doesn't have a voice, it's a cat. The story is told through the other characters around. It's world building that really makes it interesting. So as you traverse this world as this cat, you're just seeing people do things. You're never actually like, you do directly interact with characters, but you're never actually saying anything because whatever. I don't know. It just makes a very special moment when it comes to it. And this story that it tells is beautiful. Like by the time that I got to the end of this game, I was damn near in tears. And I just thought I was going to be playing a game where I just kind of, cause a ruckus as a cat, like a normal cat would. So
Right.
that's why, like, I think that while this game probably won't win, I feel like it should because it's telling you a thing that's about video games that I feel like we just don't get anymore. And we'll talk about it a
Mm.
little bit more when it comes to God of War. Like, I'm sure God of War is a very good game, but it
Oh,
also
I'll
is a
talk about God of
game
War.
that we have seen plenty of times, and that's PlayStation's MO right now. It's really big cinematic games.
This will definitely win best indie game, which is we might mention later on.
Sure,
Is it
sure.
an indie? Oh,
Yeah, it's an
Stray.
indie. This
I
is a
thought you were
small
talking about.
studio.
I thought you were talking about God of War. I was like,
Oh,
what?
no. You know,
Stray.
Sony Santa Monica, small indie studio. No one really knows about
Yeah, no, no, no.
I was like, wait a second.
But yeah, I don't know. This is a real big treat, and I don't want to spoil any of the story for anybody, so there's not gonna be spoilers about it.
Yeah, please, myself included, because I definitely still want to play this game because I have heard that the story is a bit of a tearjerker as well, and I've still, again, I do want to play it. It looks very interesting, and everything you've said makes it sound even more interesting. Again, I just don't want to pay $40 for
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I
it.
think I got it when it was on sale or something for like 26.30. Like right before it came, I got a pre-order bonus or whatever.
Right.
It's one of the better $30 I've ever spent in my life. When it comes, and
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm a pretty cheap
Nice.
motherfucker, and I really did appreciate the time. I 100%ed it maybe the second day that I played it because I just wanted more of that
Yeah,
world.
because like so like it wasn't long.
No, it's not long. So the story itself is maybe 5-6 hours that you'll beat the actual story, and then there's
Right.
collectibles and stuff like that. But I know personally for me, I'm not a huge collector. I'll beat games and 100% them if I really enjoy them. And
Mhm.
I was rabid for this game as I played it. I was like, I just need to see more of this, and I'm sure it's a game that I'll revisit every once in a while just to kind of be back in that space because it's a really feel good game, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows? Because like what last year, It Takes Two won.
That's
It could be a
true.
whatchamacallit.
Which It Takes Two is another phenomenal game. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Wait, which one?
It Takes
It
Two.
Takes
It's
Two.
that co-op
Oh,
story
yeah.
game that
I'm surprised that's not nominated for.
no, it won Game of the Year last year is what I'm saying.
Got it.
And it beat like
Last
what was
year.
the big game that it beat? I can't
I can't remember,
remember.
but it was definitely like a
Huge
AAA
game.
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is funny because it's another game that was very accessible. I played that game with people
Right.
that just never played video games before or didn't play
Right.
video games that heavily.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Um,
play it soon.
I think
Yeah.
you and your wife would probably love it. I think it'd be interesting to see y'all play
Yeah.
it together.
It'll either make or break your relationship.
Yes,
From what I
yes,
hear.
it does take some cooperation,
It's
and
gonna
also
make
there's
us
mini games
stronger.
that you go against each other. So if you have a competitive partner,
No, I can't wait.
Right. I'll play that game. I'll play Stray one day, and It Takes Two. Still want to play both of those.
if you do want to play It Takes Two, I'm pretty sure I have it on my PlayStation. I think you can play it if one person owns the game.
Oh,
So
that's
here, know that.
amazing. Oh, that's dope. Well, I might have to do that. This was gonna be my free for all, but then we decided to do this. So I was like, oh, okay, never mind. It was gonna be a follow up. I have platinumed and 100% in God of War.
Oh my
Ragnarok at this
God.
point.
Oh.
I could not
It's like,
get.
First things first.
Yes. So I have beaten this game, and so I do know everything this game has to offer.
God damn.
Holy shit.
I could not get enough of it, man. I
Literally.
loved this world. Okay, let me tell you. So the hours wise, I beat the story. Granted, I did nearly everything the game offered you at the time because it's not really a spoiler if you've played the first one, but even so, it's a type of game where, like a Zelda, you get abilities as the story continues, so you can backtrack and find new things and explore new paths, type of thing. So I was doing as much as the game would allow me, and by the time I finished the story, I finished it, I think, in 58 hours.
Damn.
And that's probably longer than I would imagine most people can do it because I also I do that thing where I
You
love
went, you
hearing.
went in deep.
Yes, absolutely. I love hearing as much dialogue as possible to the point where I won't fast travel because I know if I take this boat or whatever and walk to this place or something, I'll hear a really interesting piece of story.
They
you
do
know?
a really good job of making you want to not. And I kind of am a proponent of not fast traveling, but it's usually
Yeah.
just kind of boring.
But
But
yeah, what to say.
in theory, it sounds like a nice idea to enjoy just traveling or living in the game. God of War does
Right.
a really good job of
I think
that.
that's one of their points for this. The writing is so good in this game. The
Yeah.
writing and it had a lot to live up to with that first game, which is also a
Right.
phenomenal
That's the
fucking
only one
game.
I've played, but it was really phenomenal.
But yeah, the beat by beat dialogue on it, it's just so compelling and interesting, and the characters are so well done and fleshed out and interesting that I want to live and continue to listen to it. But yeah, so 58 hours I finished the story, 68 hours I 100% platinum the game. So there's a decent amount of stuff depending on how much you do after the game.
Right.
But yeah, I will just say recency bias. I think I like this one more than the first one. But again, it's very recent. But this game, it'll be different for different people. The first game, if you played, I won't spoil either one. The first game is very much more intimate than this one.
This one gets crazy.
You have to know what you're getting into. The game's called Ragnarok. If you know what Ragnarok is, it's the end of all things. You know what I'm saying? Just in the title, you know that this game is going to be more epic in scale. And it is, but
Damn.
it still has so many intimate. Like, there's a moment in this game towards the end that is just an intimate moment that had me in tears. And it's like pretty silent throughout the entire moment. And it's just like, fuck, this game is good. They do continue the whole one shot aspect of it. The entire game is essentially one shot, which is pretty still phenomenal in 68 hours. That's kind of nuts.
For sure.
Yeah.
Also, just not pre-rendering anything. Like, that's a lot of power and like data on your disc. Well, maybe it's not actually on the disc. I don't know anymore.
Right. You clearly see where like the loadings are like as you walk, but and you do stuff, but it is one shot, and like so like they nailed it there still. Yeah, I'm also it depends on like the flavor you like. I love mythology. I love Greek mythology, and based on these two games, I've really like started to get into Norse mythology. I think this stuff
Yeah.
is so very interesting. And going back and like hearing what the actual like mythology is, the twists and turns that they take in this game, but that are still like, oh, that's still technically like what they're doing is like
Kind of adds
they're
up.
yeah, I'm like, oh shit.
I mean, the originals were kind of like that, like
Exact yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So I was a big fan of the original God of War series and a huge fan of the last one. But yeah, I loved like the little, I don't know, cheeky things they did with like Greek mythology.
Yeah, and it continues in this, and like there's some pretty special moments where like something happens, and you're like, "What the hell just happened?" And then they won't tell you for like another 30 minutes later,
Oh shit.
and they kind of let you sit with it a bit,
Mhm.
and then it's like probably a conversation like if you're not listening or just like maybe fast traveling, you won't get, and you'll just miss that. But like if you sit and listen to these characters have these conversations, you'll be like, "Oh shit, that's what that was." Oh shit, this means blah 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 blah. It's a lot of cool stuff, and
Wow.
that's the kind of geeky shit that I kind of love. So like
Oh
it
yeah, yeah.
100% appeals to me. And one of the last things I'll note, I really want to quickly talk about the music in this. I think this music is better than the first game. I really love the music of the first game. I think that God of War theme that they reintroduced is phenomenal. Music's by Barry McCreary, who did Lord of the Rings: The Rings of Power, which I will
Oh,
say
nice.
his aesthetic in this universe is better than the Rings of Power. Because I like if you listen to our Rings of Power thing, you know that me and Devin had somewhat issues with the music that it didn't quite hit it. It was
I had
nearly
issues
there.
too. You remember my shit too?
Yeah, yeah.
That shit was boring.
And that it didn't quite hit it. It was nearly there, and there are a lot of tracks on the Rings of Power that I like, but this his aesthetic fits this world so well. I'm also that type of person where I hear a thing, I'll listen to it for like a month straight until I get tired of it, you know? And that is currently what I'm doing with this soundtrack. There are like 5 songs that I just listen to on a loop that are just like so fucking like epic
End
and
of the
like
day, you're just so fucking hype and ready
it
to
really
like
is.
chop
Like
someone's head off.
you get some deep drums in there and I'm in. I'm in. Like there's some dope shit, man. But yeah, like and like they're like yeah, they've increased the epicness and they've landed it in my opinion. Like I'm not going to I'm not spoiling anything cuz you should experience it for yourself. But by the end, yeah, I'm like holy shit, this was phenomenal. This was I couldn't believe this. This is I don't want this to stop. I'm curious as to how this continues on. Like, what are they gonna do next? I just want more of it. I cried.
Yeah.
I cried. I laughed. There's a lot of humor in it still, and like, oh, these characters are so funny. And Kratos, man, with this game included, there's going to be a debate. Two questions. There is going to be a debate between what is better, God of War 2018 and Ragnarok, or The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2? That is
Interesting.
going to happen
Oh.
based on this game.
Well, Last of Us 2 got all the hate on Earth, the vocal
It's true,
minority.
it's
So.
true, it's true, right. But that and then this other question being, with this, Kratos has now become one of the most interesting video game characters of all time.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Of all time. He's old school too though. Like
Is
well,
that's what I'm saying.
old
That's
school
what
for
I'm
us, I
saying.
guess. Like
Yeah.
Right.
he grew up with us.
Right. Like including those games, like that character has grown and changed and morphed so much that it's kind of unbelievable.
He's very different, right?
Yeah.
In this
I mean,
series
this
than
movie went from this game went from it's almost a movie.
it is. Yeah,
We'll
it's
talk
a
about that a
movie.
little bit. It went from basically like Fast and Furious to fucking I don't even know
Right.
what's the epic
It went to,
drama,
like the road.
right?
Like yeah,
Yeah. It's very like sad dad vibes, you know,
Right.
yeah.
like, oh, I am a father, and you must listen to me, and I shall not crack.
First scene of God of War 1, you
And then he
fucking
cracks.
you fuck some winches and then you go and
Right.
fight some gods. Like it was like the most ridiculous over the top like Cliffy
Yeah.
B ass game to come out on
Definitely
PlayStation.
of the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, very 2000s, hardcore
Yeah.
music playing the whole time like and then go
Yeah.
from that to like this. It's just so interesting.
They've matured, you know, like
Yeah, yeah.
everybody.
That's fair.
It kind of had me thinking when you were saying earlier, Brian, like we've kind of seen everything in gaming. And I think when that first one came out, that was something we hadn't seen specifically for this character. And I think that's what made that one so special as well. It was like, oh, I didn't know you could do this with this series and this character. This is nuts.
That's kind of where I'm gonna figure out, and I don't know enough about the Game Awards to know exactly where I don't know whatever panel they have since I assume this isn't a popular vote.
No, I think it's mostly a lot of like games journalists and
Exactly.
yeah,
So
stuff
I'm
like that.
not sure how they're gonna feel when it comes down to it because there's two different camps that we're in right now. When I say that we haven't done like a lot of different things, like yeah, they did change this character a whole lot, which they also did with Tomb Raider, which was really interesting as well. Unfortunately, Tomb Raider came out at the same time as Last of Us, and that fucking sucked.
Right.
But still a good series of games. So it
Yeah.
becomes whether or not you like gameplay over story or story over gameplay. Not to say the gameplay in God of War is bad by any means. It's still very interesting and a lot of fun to do.
It's fucking top notch in this game.
Yeah, like very
Yeah.
good. Like same like Last of Us. Like I loved Last of Us 2's gameplay. I thought it was really, really clean, very
Right.
seamless, very good. But there's still cinematic games. Like right now, we're at this weird point that we can't seem to kind of shake, especially for PlayStation specifically, where a good AAA game right now that's supposed to be, it's better than the movies is honestly a movie that you play every once in a while. You know what I mean? Like the amount of cutscenes in those games are probably like half the game usually on these
I mean,
types of games.
that's what Hideo Kojima with Metal Gear, like,
Oh, that's even
Right.
Hideo Kojima
also
is
great great
I
games, great.
Hideo Kojima's disrespectful with
great
this
creator.
shit. A whole 2 hour fucking
Hey, I'm cool. I'm down with it. Like,
I haven't played the game
go
for
off.
2 hours, bro. Let me play the
Right.
fucking game.
I
I
understand
do
what you're
want to play the
saying.
game. Yes, I do
I
want to play the
definitely
game. Though.
agree. Like I understand what you're saying, but it almost sounds like an insult to this game. But I know it's not. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, exactly.
In the sense that I don't agree. I don't think it's 50%. I think there was a lot more gameplay than story
Yeah.
than cutscene in this game. Just this game is huge. This game is massive, dude.
Have you played the God of War, Brian?
I played like 12 minutes of the first one.
Brian played a
Oh,
second.
man. Oh, wow.
I got it for $8 and played 12 seconds of it.
Yeah, I got it for sale like a couple years ago also, but I played for like, I don't know, a little bit, like maybe an hour. And then for months I didn't play it, maybe longer, and then I picked it up again and it was like, oh, this is like really saying something. And I don't know,
Right.
the way the camera stuff really like I really appreciate it.
It's impressive. Yeah.
And that's the thing is I don't hate cinematic games. I think me and Oscar are pretty like on the same page when it comes to like some of my favorite games, like Kingdom
Right.
Hearts and shit like that, aren't games that you're not sitting there. It's not the same as like saying playing Super Mario, where Super Mario doesn't have much of a story, but you're always
Right.
engaging and playing with the game. Some people hate these kind of games where they won't play a story-based game because they think the actual gameplay itself isn't fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
This series is firing on both cylinders, it seems like.
I'm sure it
Well,
is.
those are also the same people that think The Last of Us 1's gameplay is bad, which I don't think it's bad. I know compared to
Okay.
2, it's not great. 2 is amazing, but when I played 1, I never thought it was bad.
I had a great time. I like the way that,
Yeah.
whatever. We don't have to get too into
Anyways.
that. But,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just kind of interesting because Elden Ring is so little on story and so much
Exactly.
on engagement. Like most of the story that you engage in Elden Ring is like as you as the player,
Right.
which is an
Right,
interesting thing
absolutely.
that I think we talk about a lot with a lot of games like Legend of Zelda, stuff like that. It's not so much the character's experience, it's the player's experience of like, yeah. So when you're telling someone a story about what happened at Elden Ring, you're like, yeah, man. So then I went to this cavern, then I found this like dude with 18 butts, and he beat my ass, and I had to
yeah.
respawn back there, and then I
That's
ran
true,
over.
like just the stories are insane. Like,
It's literally you create your own story.
Exactly.
yeah, absolutely.
Whereas God of War
Absolutely.
is the opposite, where it's like, well, yeah, Kratos, he went down to the store and he said, boy, and then boy was like, you're not my dad, and then whatever
Right.
the fuck.
And then eventually, everybody's gonna see the same exact story. But there's
Exactly.
definitely like lots of side quests and like written
The
things
side quests
out.
are great.
I'm sure they are fantastic. Like I'm a huge fan of like good stuff like that.
Yeah, similar in the sense that you create your own story where it's like there are some bosses in here that I wanted to throw my controller with, and finally beating it, and recorded it as proof to save it. And I just like recorded like the last half hour just to see the deaths, all the deaths, and then the almost wins, like the last second, and then finally getting it. It feels great, and I thought like the first game's combat was nearly flawless. This one
The first one, yeah, was solid.
is so good. It's very similar for obvious reasons. It's because it's fucking good. And also in the sense that compared to Last of Us, this feels, I would almost want to say, more as of a connected sequel than The Last of Us, just because of that.
Mhm.
Like there is a time jump, obviously, because the kid got bigger, but it's not like, it still feels like one story because of how similar everything is. And so I
Mhm.
don't think it's a bad thing because it is such good gameplay. And they throw new things in here that are some of my favorite shit now.
Nice.
Like, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm very, very excited to see it, and I have nothing bad to say about what was it, 2018's God of War. I think it was a great game, and I think
Yeah.
this looks like a great game.
That being said, I still think my Elden Ring's probably gonna win.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I think Elden Ring is gonna win over God of War. Like, I would be surprised if God of War wins.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
be surprised either way.
But I wouldn't. Like, I think it deserves it.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
absolutely.
I think all these games deserve it. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if anybody
Look at
wins.
this guy. Everyone's a winner. Wow, we all get trophies. Participation.
He's a total dad
I
now.
wouldn't be surprised if God of War wins, though. It's not gonna happen. Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like Elden Ring has too much like political power. Like, Elden Ring means
does.
more
It does.
than God of War.
I think
so.
it all depends on the camp. I don't know
does,
what
yeah.
judges they're really coming from, like what like journalists
true.
they're like coming from, but it just kind of
These
depends
aren't
on
video games anymore. God of
Right,
War is our video
right.
game.
it just kind of depends on where you are in that camp, and that's what I think is really interesting.
Yeah.
If you have a game that's so focused on one thing, and then a game that's so focused on like the narrative, and it's very
Right.
different. And then you have Stray, that's just like we're a cat, and it's like okay,
Yeah.
That's not a game.
That's all I'm saying. Straight might split the difference and be
I
the
don't wanna
winner.
be a cat.
right. And then you have Xenoblade Chronicles. It's like, oh well, we're gonna be a bunch of weebs today. So if that wins, we're really fucked. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, that would be amazing. That would be amazing.
Let me quickly talk about Horizon real quick. Horizon Forbidden West.
There's no way
which is,
Horizon's winning. Sorry,
gonna
Horizon.
win either.
No, absolutely not. It's gonna get the same treatment that the first Horizon did, in
Which
that it's a
sucks,
great
dude.
game in a year full of phenomenal games. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And I will say, again, recency bias aside, I do think Ragnarok is better than Horizon, but
That's fair.
also mostly because, like I said, I platinumed God of War in 10 days. I could not put that game down, and just 68 hours. I put Horizon down at a point for
Yeah.
months, and then had to come back and finally beat it and platinum it. But granted, I don't remember how many hours I had spent in Horizon when that burnout hit me. It might have been around 40 to 60. I don't remember. But also, like, I mentioned this earlier in the podcast when I talked about it. I think my total after I had platinumed it was probably like 120 to 140. I don't remember. So it's double God of War. God of War. So that's also, like, for me, like, I've complained about how games are too big. That is one of those games where I think God of War just clicks with me in that it's not quite open world. It's more like open zone. And that
Mm,
I love
yeah.
because it's not too overwhelming. And it's just like you can do these things at a time. And so that works for me. That's why I think God of War wins over Horizon. Where granted, Horizon is great. Yeah.
I have a hot take. And
Uh-oh.
it's probably not that
Uh-oh.
hot. It's probably incredibly lukewarm, maybe
Sizzling.
even
Ooh,
freezing
ow,
cold.
ow, ow,
'Cause I
ow,
know
ow.
Oscar
My
agrees
fingers
with
are
me in
burning.
this. I think in a lot of cases, less is more. And I really,
Yes.
I really pray and hope that we get away from this when it comes to AAA games, to making them as big as fucking possible. Because I think that's
Yeah.
what Horizon almost suffers from, and being just too much, but then at the same time not enough. One thing you talked about, Alex, when you talked about how like, oh, well, you know, like you want to like not fast travel and stuff like that because you want to like hear everything and like exist in the world. And then when you do that, you find out the world's actually not that dense. And it kind of almost like it takes away from the game. Where you're like, well, fuck, like they don't actually have that much dialogue.
Or like space, like interesting space to occupy.
Exactly,
Like there's
yeah.
almost no dialogue in Elden Ring, but it's
Right.
fascinating.
Right.
Exactly. And I think I haven't played this game, so I can't say but so much about it. But I do know a lot of games that have suffered from exactly that, where you're like, well, yeah, like this world is interesting. Let me see more of this world. Oh shit,
Yeah,
this world actually ain't that much fun. There's not shit going on here. That's kind of
yeah. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know if I would describe Elden Ring as fun. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's
Oh, I
tough.
had fun.
It is an amazing game, and I love it.
Yeah.
But fun is interesting.
I was fighting for my life at all times. I was not having fun.
I'll have to get back to you on that.
And that is definitely a thing for Horizon where it's like exploring the whole world. You do start to see like this is where God of War has the better writing, and because it's smaller, it's a tighter game, even though it is still massive. It's smaller, and the characters are interesting because there's so fewer than Horizon is. Horizon has so many more characters than God of War does. Granted,
Yeah,
the
I
main
bet.
story of Horizon I found very interesting and super compelling, and I wanted to keep doing that. The open world stuff, fun, just a little too big for me. Which is why I would definitely lean towards God of War.
Yeah,
Mm.
I can see that. I mean, we've talked about Assassin's Creed plenty of times on the podcast, and I think
Exactly,
that's another game
exactly.
exactly like that, where it's like, if y'all just fucking just tightened it up a little bit, I think these games could be
Yeah,
so much better. But
yeah. It's impressive. You built in a massive, beautiful world, but it's too big at times.
exactly, exactly.
Brian, you want to quickly talk about A Plague Tale Requiem, even though you didn't play it, but you played the first one?
I don't know shit
Yeah,
about either of these
what is a
games.
Plague Tale? If anybody knows,
It's a
please call us.
story-based game with a woman and a kid, and it's magical, and there's rats, and you
Yeah,
can control
so
rats, and
I
yeah.
did not play enough
Control
of
the
Plague Tale
rats.
Innocence to give you a really big story about it. I'm not going to spoil much about the beginning scenes of it because it's a narrative based game. It's another one of those Last of Us PlayStation exclusive feeling kind of games, despite not being a PlayStation exclusive.
Right.
But it follows a girl and her little brother basically trying to escape being murdered because they're of
Oh
some
gosh.
kind of royalty. I don't know. Rats come and evolved
Oh.
at some point. I don't know. I
Yeah.
didn't get to the point where the rats became a big thing because I just
Damn, you really quit early.
The rats aren't in there yet.
when I got there, I maybe played an hour and a half of the game, and it's
How
just
how
not.
how how involved are rats? That's what I need
It's a
to know.
pretty big aspect of the game to the point where I think
Pretty rat-heavy
I'm
game.
pretty sure you can control them based on the trailer that I saw. So maybe that's a
Yeah.
spoiler for the trailers or whatever. But it becomes a pretty big thing. It's about in the plague time, so it's about like the Black
Right.
Plague.
Okay, right.
All in all, it looks like a very interesting game.
And that's the
I
thing.
might play it one day.
I do want to sit down and actually play it. The big thing for me is I was trying to rush it because it was coming off a Game Pass, which I have another
Oh.
rant about that because it was going off a Game Pass. I was like, damn, I gotta beat it before it comes off a Game Pass. And then I went to Epic Game Store and saw that I already had the game for free on another
Jesus,
fucking
Brian.
platform. But how do you
Wow.
know? There's 18 platforms on PC. Shit's dumb as fuck.
PC's
Wait,
the
what?
best.
One platform.
18 platforms on
This shit
PC.
sucks. It's so stupid. I hate it. So yeah, I got that game for free, so I can play it whenever I want. It's never left.
Oh, that's funny. That's really funny.
But yeah, it was just one of those games that it's like it probably would have been great if I had played it before I played games like Last of Us and stuff like because it's very like stealth heavy. You're
Right.
supposed to like throw things so that people be like, "Oh, what's that noise? Run away!" What's
Yeah.
that? Shit like that. I've seen it before. I've played it before. It was a worse version of that. The graphics are okay. They're not amazing. They're not the best thing I've ever seen. They're not ugly by any means, but like just after seeing the amazing games I've seen so far, even on PlayStation 4, they just don't really compare. And I think that's why the game got an 8 out of 10. Because we've seen better at this point.
Right.
Requiem
Yeah.
might be amazing. It might be way better. I heard it was really buggy when it first came out. People were really complaining about it being just not finished. So I'm assuming they got better.
Right.
I've honestly never heard of this game, but I am looking some stuff on it right now,
Yeah.
and it looks
It
terrifying.
looks very interesting.
I would say look
half
into it.
half the video is just people running away from
Yeah.
mountains of rats, and I'm like, that is terrifying.
People really enjoyed this game. Like it was a very like well received game.
Yeah.
But I think it did come out the first one came out in a time where other better games came out, kind of like Horizon
Exactly.
Zero Dawn.
Exactly.
Yeah. I feel like it would have taken off more. I don't know. I have no idea, but I'm judging the game already. This is the first time I've heard of that, but it seems like it would have done really well a couple years ago.
It's on
Right.
Xbox Game Pass, the second one, for free. So, well, not on free.
Is it already? Holy
Yeah,
shit.
it came
damn.
out day one, and that's a great thing about Xbox.
Oh,
Mm.
wow. Okay.
Tell them.
I have absolutely nothing to say about Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
I played
Yo.
Xenosaga 2 in like 2004. I have not played a Xeno adjacent game probably since then, but I do know that they love.
I
that
have not
story.
played any Xeno
Yep, me either.
Blade Chronicles or Xeno adjacent games at all, but I do like RPG games, and I think it's really cool that a JRPG got nominated, and I feel like that category just deserves some respect.
And that's one of those
Oh, yeah.
things that just made me feel like, do we not have that many games this year? Because I don't
Apparently
even know if
not.
that game sold well.
It feels weird, yeah. I'm like, Xenoblade Chronicles and a game I never heard of before. Interesting.
like no
Yeah.
disrespect. Let me see what it got on Metacritic.
I feel like it was good. I don't play those games.
I mean, it
but
got an 89%. Like that's
Yeah. There you go.
That's something. That's not
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah, it's up there.
Yeah, it's got number 3 for best Switch game of 2022.
Only number 3?
Persona Royale, Persona 5 Royale got number 2, and then Portal
Wow,
Companion
so a
Collection.
game that came out like 5 years ago
Yeah,
was
so
ahead of
that's
it.
why it got on Game of the Year, because the 2 other games that came out were games that already came out
We're
before.
yeah.
Ah,
That's nuts. That's nuts.
that is funny.
So those are game of the year. We'll find out. Well, again, so I think all 3 of us are in agreement. Probably Elden Ring. I
Yeah.
would like God of War, but I wouldn't be surprised Elden Ring though, to be
Yeah.
honest.
I vote Elden Ring or Stray.
I vote straight too. Fuck God of War.
Fair enough.
I don't want to see Sony win anything else.
Let's quickly rattle off what like where guesses for a lot of these things. A lot of these are similar nominations, but some of these slightly different.
Okay.
We're gonna just some of these we might not even know, but I think it'll be funny if we
Firing
just guess.
from the
Who
hip.
cares? Best
Wild card.
direction: Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Immortality, or Stray. I'm obviously gonna go Ragnarok because of that whole one-shot thing. For
I think-
68 hours.
Oh, okay.
I think God of War is easy for that one.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards Stray. Like that's got like a very visual style. You
It's
know,
possible.
It's
Like,
possible.
it makes you feel like I feel like. Correct me, but it looks like it makes you feel good while
Oh,
you're
it
playing. You're
does.
just like
I
I
felt-
just imagine smiling all the time.
I would
you know what I'm saying?
imagine if I played it, I probably would.
You can't just like a group of people can't just do that. You know, it takes
Right.
like a strong voice to be like to craft something like that.
Right.
Oh, that's
You
interesting.
know what I'm saying?
That's a
And
good.
that's direction.
You're looking at
honestly,
it very
100%.
intrinsically. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm telling you
Absolutely.
guys, insider
true.
scoop. But God
Absolutely.
of War, like the camera stuff that they do, really pulls you and involves you. But I still give it to Stray.
Yeah, with the connecting the writing to someone directed those actors in those mocap suits in the performance capture rooms, and
Absolutely,
those performances are phenomenal.
it's It's basically what like a 50-hour movie.
Yeah.
in a sense at times. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, best narrative: A Plague Tale: Requiem, Elden Ring. Why the fuck is that on there? God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, or Immortality.
I don't know what immortality is. I think Ragnarok probably. You know,
Immortality is an interesting like.
Isn't it like a fake Dark Souls?
No, Immortality is actually really not that. It's actually on the Xbox Game Pass, and I was looking at it because it's something that's on my list, but I actually haven't even touched it. I'm not 100%
not gonna
sure
win.
what it's about.
Nope.
He said no. I'm trying to see if I can find it, but I can't even find it. But it's like basically like kind of one of those like choice-based kind of click games from what I'm seeing.
Nope.
We're exploring like lost films and trying to figure out basically like a mystery.
Oh, I heard
okay.
about this.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds very narrative heavy. So
Like
maybe,
more
Yeah.
adventure stuff. Yeah, so it's probably very interesting.
you know, if Elden Ring does win, that
That would be
probably
nuts.
be more interesting than anything that is in immortality. I'll tell you that
It would
much.
make the least sense.
Right, right.
I mean, it's definitely got like the most like outreaching and long lasting
Sure.
narratives. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it'll stick with you until you try to figure it out.
I was about to say it'll stick with you if you can get it.
Yeah.
Best art direction: Elden Ring, God of War, Horizon, Scorn, Stray. I'm assuming Elden Ring might take this one.
Yeah, I feel like Elden Ring or Stray.
So
I don't
let's
know.
Yeah.
let's not sleep on Scorn. Scorn's a very
What is
interesting game. It was a game that came out like in October. It's a fairly recent game that's basically based on H.R. Geiger. I don't know if you know like his artwork,
Oh,
stuff like
yeah.
that. And then like
shit, I know exactly what you're talking about. I think
so I played some of this
one
game.
might be. You played some of this?
It's hard to call it beautiful because it's so gross. It's a really gross game, but they really
makes
hit
my
the
skin crawl just looking
yes,
at
they
it.
they hit the
again.
Geiger like aesthetic so well. The game sucks. I'm sorry, no, I don't say the game sucks. The game is not for me. I don't enjoy the game,
Mm.
but the art style is so on point. I don't know, like it hits really
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
So it's always like the body horror is just so
Right.
effective in that
Yeah.
game that it had so much potential to be
Yikes.
one of the better games of this year. But unfortunately, the actual
Mm.
gameplay sucks.
That's a bummer.
Okay, Scorn's got it.
All right. Score music. I'm going God of War. I'm surprised Horizon wasn't nominated because it does have a pretty beautiful score as well. But I'm going God of War. To be fair, I haven't listened to anything. I would love to see Metal Hellsinger win.
I was about to
though.
say that shit fucking slaps.
Did you play some of Metal Hellsinger,
I
Brian?
100%ed it. I beat the shit out of the game. It was
That's
not
right.
worth $40, but the tracks were
That's like
solid.
it's like the Rocksmith like hack and slasher.
Yeah, it's like
Or
the hack
yeah.
and slash,
shooter?
so you have to like do everything on beat with the game, and you get like
Right,
higher
right.
scores and stuff like. So it's a game that's supposed to like repeat a bunch.
That sounds so cool.
Rhythm-based
I feel
Doom.
like that's gonna win just because it's like
Yeah, I wouldn't be upset.
it's
if that
not
won.
really original, right? But like great songs.
Yeah, the
Right.
music slapped. As a metal
Yeah.
lover, I was very. They brought a lot of people from a lot of different walks of life to work on that
Hell
game.
yeah.
So that was super cool. Xenoblade Chronicles might be super sick too. I haven't heard a single song from that soundtrack.
You know what?
Fair
I bet
enough.
that soundtrack is fucking sick.
I'll bet you there's a huge dope ass guitar riff in there
You're about to say
somewhere.
at some point.
A couple of them.
That shit gonna sound like Dynasty Warriors, I bet.
Warriors.
Best audio: Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2, Elden Ring, God of War, Gran Turismo, Horizon. I don't know.
I was gonna say Modern Warfare 2
That's
only
tough.
because I feel like they tried really hard in that game. I don't really
Probably,
know
Yeah,
what the
maybe.
sound sounds like.
Probably.
I'm not gonna spend $70, but Sony unfortunately made it so it wouldn't get on Game Pass, so fuck them. So I'll never play it.
All right, best performance: actor Ashley Birch, Horizon Forbidden West; Charlotte McBurney, A Plague Tale Requiem; Christopher Judge, God of War Ragnarok; Manon Gage, Immortality; and Sonny Suljic for God of War Ragnarok.
Who's Sonny? Is
Yeah,
that
I'm going for Sonny.
He's the kid.
son?
He's the son. Yeah.
I feel like one of the Christopher Judge or Sonny, both from
Either
God of War,
one
I
I'd
feel
be
like
happy.
One of them is probably gonna do it.
Especially in this game, like they both fucking shine. I think I would probably lean towards Christopher Judge though, just because man, he's just so good. The voice,
Ooh.
like he's it's the most emotional range I've ever seen out
Is
of
he
Kratos.
he's not the same voice actor from the original games,
No.
right?
No.
Or is he?
No.
There's a black
Yeah.
man.
Well, they were both black guys, or they both are. I mean,
They both were.
yeah, I mean, they both are.
They both were.
What the fuck was the first guy's name? He's pretty well respected in the voice acting community.
Yeah, I
Something
thought so.
Carson. Something. It's like two letters. I think I can't remember. Something Carson.
Well, I'd give it to Christopher Judge just off of the first one. You know what I mean?
Terrence C. Carson.
There you go. There you
Word.
go. Also, Ashley Birch is great in Horizon. I just think because of the length, at least the way I played it, I feel like I get less of her in the story because I have hours of non-story in between all of those a lot of times. So
Yeah.
I got more Christopher Judge in a short amount of time. So I'm going Christopher Judge.
That's fair.
A lot of these we're rattle off because we don't know any of them. Games for Impact Award. I don't know any of these.
So I know Citizen Sleeper. I cannot get past the fucking intro of this game, but it's only a 6-hour game, and apparently it's very well respected as a very interesting game on capitalism.
Oh, well, there you go. That takes my vote.
I did play a little bit As Dust Fall as well. I play some of these games, bro. Game Pass be
Oh.
fucking sending me, bro. That's
I
another
think
choice.
As Dust Falls is gonna win just because that sounds the most interesting.
Is that the one that it looked kind of terrible, but apparently it's really amazing?
Yeah, so it basically like a bunch of painted over like scenes of like real people.
Yeah.
It was that kind of game. That game is
Wow.
really fucking big. So that game's like 60 gigabytes for no reason.
Holy shit.
Hey, that's making an impact. So they're like, there you go.
But I love a good choice-based game. So I was gonna enjoy that game, but for some reason I put it down, and never picked it back up. But both those games apparently amazing. They're
Right.
very well respected. Couldn't tell you about any of these other games that came out.
Nope.
But those two I know. It's probably gonna be between those two, I'm
Right.
thinking.
Best ongoing game: Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, or Genshin Impact. I'm going Destiny 2 because it's the only one that I've played out of all.
There's no way
Interesting.
Destiny 2 is winning this year.
There's
That
no
game
way,
is not
man. I
talked
can't
about.
help but say I like Destiny.
I think it had a comeback after like a new DLC or something dropped. I
Yeah.
saw.
It usually does, but I feel like it did not have one so much this year that it usually does. I think right now Apex Legends had a huge comeback,
Oh really?
and then Fortnite, of course, always exists.
Yeah,
I don't
want
has,
Fortnite to
has
win.
Fortnite been winning? If they haven't won yet, they're definitely due for a trophy.
I'm pretty sure Fortnite's won something. Yes,
That's what I had to say. Final Fantasy 14, I think, won last year.
that's
And I don't
right.
think they put out new content since then, so they probably won't
Mm.
win this year.
No,
That's
probably
what I'm
not.
thinking.
Cool.
might be Destiny too.
Who knows? Probably not. I as long as it's not Fortnite, I don't care.
It's gonna be Genshin Impact. Let's be real.
Right.
Yeah.
Best indie game: Cult of the Lamb, Neon White, Sifu, Stray, and Tunic. I'm stuck between Stray and Sifu because I want to play both of those.
Seafood looks cool. Yeah.
What sucks is all of those games are apparently really, really good.
Yeah.
I've heard good things
watched
about
a friend
Tunic
play.
and Cult of the Lamb.
Yeah,
All of them.
yeah. Tunic has issues with the. I actually played a little bit of Tunic. Has issues with the gameplay aspect itself. Has interesting ideas, but the actual like fighting it doesn't feel good.
Okay.
So that probably won't win. Seafood's apparently amazing. Neon White's really, really good from what I hear. I don't have it because I'm not gonna spend the money on it.
Right.
And then Cult of the Lamb is apparently really, really good as well. So
Yeah.
it's actually a pretty stacked.
Stacked.
Like
Except for the
Stray's
fact
gonna
that
win.
only one of these is nominated for Game of the Year, and it's probably going to be Stray.
Yeah.
Stray's gonna win.
What
Unfortunately,
happens if one of these wins that's not Stray, and then Stray wins?
That makes
Game
no
of the Year.
sense. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so someone's throwing softballs.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's actually a lot of
Or
really
even
good
if
games.
any of the other games win Best Indie Game, but yet Stray is nominated to be nominated
that's
to
true.
be the best. Like
It's weird. It's very odd.
I mean, hey, that's cool. That's cool. I
Yeah.
think you should share the title at least. But
All right, moving on
Interesting.
from that.
Moving on.
Best debut indie game, which these are getting these not categories are getting a little all right.
Yeah,
Neon
they just do
White,
whatever.
Norco, Stray, Tunic, Vampire Survivors, probably Stray again.
Vampire Survivors is really fucking dope. The game costs like $3, and it's one of those like
Really?
almost idle games where
Wow.
you like it's like a roguelike almost that you get get power-ups and stuff like that. It's a really simple game, but it's actually a lot of fun. I've played that.
Oh shit. Okay.
So it's probably gonna be between that and Neon White if Stray doesn't just sweep all of those categories.
Right. All right. Rapid fire. More rapid fire.
More rapider. Community Sport, No Man's Sky. That game has
Yep.
had the best fucking research ever.
Yep. Mobile game. I'm gonna say
I have no
Marvel
idea.
Snap.
Marvel Snap.
Yeah,
Yep.
because I think people
Marvel
are playing the
Snap.
shit out of that now. I refuse to play another card game
I
though.
hear a lot about it.
VR, AR game,
Never heard of any of these except for Among Us.
except for
No.
Among Us. Yeah, I hear
Among
Moss
Us
is good.
VR. That's funny.
I hear Moss is good. Action game, Bayonetta 3
Bayonetta
probably.
3, cause fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck homegirl.
Well, they got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles though. Like
That's
would
true.
That would be hilarious if that wins.
That's true.
That game was fun. I did enjoy it.
Action adventure game, Horizon. I'll throw it a ball. Give it to her.
No, it's gonna be
Over
God of War. Yeah. Stop playing.
It's probably gonna be God of War. It's probably gonna be all right.
Stray. Give it a Stray. Best action game.
Role playing. It's gonna be Elden Ring, right?
Elden Ring. Elden Ring.
Yeah, absolutely, no question.
That is the best.
Not
role-playing
Pokemon.
game.
What if Pokemon,
Pokemon
beat
look
it?
like shit. Pokemon looked like shit. That game was awful.
It would be cool if triangle strategy ones.
That's true. Best fighting game.
Sifu with King
Sifu.
of Fighters does not make any sense.
I'm going Sifu. Yeah.
Nice.
To call that a fighting game is really disrespectful to fighting
It
games.
kind of
like
is.
King of Fighters.
It kind of is. Yeah, absolutely. Family game.
Splatoon 3.
Probably that Mario Rabbids thing.
Damn it.
Oh, you know what? That game actually looks really dope. I'm excited to play it.
Yeah.
Nintendo Sports is a classic though. So
Splatoon is one of the best competitive games of all time.
Damn.
Heard it here first.
All right. Best sim
Word
strategy game. I'm gonna go Dune Spice Wars because I didn't know that game came out.
that came out.
I just saw it on Game Pass today, and I was like, "What the
No,
fuck?"
Mario Rabbids. I haven't played it yet, but I know it's made by the same people that made XCOM and
Oh shit! What?
I mean, it's the same styles of games. So
Yeah.
something else. I forget. But yeah, that or maybe it's just like just ripping them off. I'm not quite sure, but
maybe.
I'm gonna say 2 Point Campus.
it looks solid.
I don't
It
even.
looks really solid.
You don't even know what that is, do you?
No, I played 2 Point Hospital. That game's dope.
Oh, okay.
I assume this is similar. I don't know.
I
haven't
see,
played
I see.
It's on Game Pass. I just haven't downloaded it. Once again.
I see. Sports racing game. We don't care about any of these, so I'm gonna give it to Gran Turismo.
All the other world looks really cool.
Oh, that's true.
It's like a little 2D but wacky skateboarding game, like Tony Hawk, but
Oh.
two dimension.
Oh, I have seen my friend played that.
Yeah,
She
I
liked that a
think
whole
it's
lot.
like fast paced, kind of Sonic-y.
Best multiplayer game. I'm gonna go Overwatch 2.
Not Overwatch
Psych!
2. Overwatch 2 is fucking broken, bro. They keep fucking
Oh.
deleting characters for 2 weeks at a time for no fucking
It's
reason.
probably gonna be Call of Duty. Let's face it. It's gonna be Call of
Oh
Duty.
gosh,
You know.
It
yeah.
could still be Overwatch 2, but that game is not.
I don't think it deserves it. I don't want it to win.
It doesn't. Like, it's a
Moving
good
on,
game.
Moving on.
He said he didn't want to talk about it.
Anticipated game of 2023. I'm going Hogwarts
Resident
Legacy.
Evil 4.
Hogwarts, yeah.
No, Resident Evil 4.
Wait, no, there's Legend of Zelda. That's tough. Dang. Hogwarts has got a bigger fan base, a larger fan base.
Yeah, I'm going Hogwarts Legacy just because I'm thinking. Yeah, out of all those, I'm most excited about all of them.
I'm more excited for Zelda though. I didn't see that on the list yet.
Final Fantasy 16 has too many white people in it. And they made a weird response about it. They were like, we don't want colored people in our game
Oh,
because it
damn.
doesn't make sense. And I was like, okay,
They usually
never
have
mind.
like one black guy.
Yeah,
Right.
you know, you gotta have one.
Very
Yeah.
surprised that no Final Fantasy VII Part 2 is on here. Maybe because they don't have a concrete date, but that is interesting.
Yeah.
Considered they said next winter last time, so that was weird. We're gonna skip content creator because does anyone know any of them?
I know 2 of these people, but barely.
Pick one.
Ludwig.
All right, he wins.
Nice.
Best adaptation. This one's kind of interesting. Arcane, Cyberpunk Edge Runners, The Cuphead Show, or Sonic the Hedgehog 2, or Uncharted. Brian, we know what you're gonna pick.
Uncharted, obviously.
I think Arcane, the League of Legends is probably gonna win. I heard that was really great.
I think that's probably gonna win, but this is my free for all spoiler. I'm going Cuphead Show. That show is fucking adorable, and I love it. I love it so
Nice.
much.
Yeah, that's fair. It'd be second if Arcane wasn't gonna win.
Yeah.
But if Arcane's gonna sweep, for sure.
Absolutely.
It's too big.
Innovation of accessibility. I'm 100% going Last of Us Part 1. The amount of accessibility options in that remake are fucking nuts.
Even Last of Us 2 had a really good amount of like accessibility options. I was really surprised they didn't have like the options menu wasn't really options, it was straight accessibility.
Yeah.
To the point where I was able to like cater my game to a very specific play.
It's
It
very
was
cool.
almost cheating.
Very cool. God of War is nearly as good, but the Last of Us Part
Yeah.
1 is even better. Yeah.
I know they put a lot of
Nice.
the PlayStation puts a lot of effort into that, and I appreciate that a whole lot.
Yeah. All of this esports stuff, I don't care. I respect all of you.
Best esports games. I'm gonna say Counter Strike because I'm an old school motherfucker.
There
We
you
play
go.
Counter Strike in this house. Fucking Valorant. Valorant's probably gonna win, which I hate.
Oh, Rocket League is on here.
I hope Rocket League wins. I know
wish
Devin.
Devin were here. Oh man, I'm gonna vote for it just for
Devin's
Devin.
ears just started to burn a
It's
little
like,
bit.
Rocket League is not being talked about right now.
Next thing we know, we all get texts from Devin saying just says Rocket League.
just a reminder, guys.
It's like a bat signal.
Yeah.
Best esports athlete. I only know one of these motherfuckers, and that's Faker. And everybody that listens to this podcast, as well as you guys, I encourage you all to look up a video of this man playing video games because he's the most ADHD motherfucker I've ever seen before in my life.
My gosh.
He's the only motherfucker that I watch play professional League of Legends while also playing 3 other games at the same time.
Jesus.
This man is nuts.
That's
this
nuts.
dude he had a bad showing in the last whatever that he played. People are mad about that. This dude is different echelon of human being. He is not human. Dude is crazy.
Now, I'm going to sound probably like a boomer right now, but are we allowed to call them athletes? No, sorry.
We're allowed to. Should we? That's a different.
I think players
they're,
fine.
They're competing. They're competing. They're athletes. Yeah, absolutely.
Listen, this man has more money in one day than I probably make in my entire lifetime.
It's true.
So,
That sounds like every other athlete. Yeah.
Yeah. Brian, did you have anything else to say about anything? Because I don't care.
Best esports team, FaZe Clan just recently became publicly traded, so they're probably going to win because they're making super money now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is crazy because there's a bunch of nerds that used to just snipe on Call of Duty, and now they do all that. Best esports coach, never heard of these people. Esports event, I don't know. League of Legends goes to random spots all the time. They spend a lot of money on it, so I guess it's probably pretty cool. They brought Lil Nas X at LCS.
Yeah, that's the one that's gonna win. LCS, they're the winners. Good job.
And that's it, everyone. We got through them.
All you gotta do is hire Lil Nas X and you win.
And you win.
Well, it'll be exciting to see how many of these we got right.
I would love to go back and see which ones we did get right.
Maybe we'll keep a tally and see and find out. Yeah, there you go. Game of the year coming in a couple weeks. We'll find out the winners. Let's see if Elden Ring takes it or God of War or Stray. We'll find out. Guys, are you ready to move on to our final segment of the week?
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Which we like to call Free for All, title pending. This is a segment, listeners. We can kind of do whatever we want. We can recommend something, talk about our day, talk about life, take a nap, argue. It is free for all. I will quickly go first since I was already kind of talking about it. I was going to do God of War, but then we did this. So now it's the Cuphead show because season 3 just came out like yesterday and I binged it and it's so this show is just so consistently good. Ugh. I love it.
Question.
Yes.
Have you played Cuphead?
No. It's still a game that I want to play. I still haven't played Cuphead.
It seems like you can enjoy the show separately from the
I'm
game.
sure.
Oh, yeah. It's just funny. Yeah. Like, yeah, I still
That
have
is
yet to
funny.
play Cuphead.
It's funny because he has no real attachment to this property as
But
as a
he's
whole.
still big fan.
Big fan. Season 3 was very still on par with the rest of the past 2 seasons. I did not know it was coming out. It was just like, hey, look, season 3 is out. I was like, okay, no announcement. Cool.
I've heard nothing about this.
They're all pretty short. I think all of season 3 is probably like maybe 2.5, 3 hours long. Not too bad. 11 episodes. A lot of Christmas themed ones. So they got a Christmas special in there, which is kind of fun and cool. More of the devil in this season, which I think the devil's actually in every episode, which is very cool because he is a very funny character. Everyone should watch the show. It's fantastic. I hope they keep making more of it.
Nice.
I need to watch
Right
this
on.
show. I'll do it.
Yeah.
I can go next.
I'll
No,
oh,
fuck
okay.
you.
Go ahead.
Fuck you.
Oh, fuck me.
It's my turn.
Fuck you, man.
No, I'm sure you have something much better, and we'd love to hear you laugh.
My thing
That's
is going to
relaxed.
be
That's good.
amazing. Just wait.
I believe in you. So I watched an anime recently, and I've been catching up on, and I think I'm almost done. I have like 2 episodes left, but it's called Spy Family, and it's basically about a guy that is part of a spy regime, whatever. He's currently trying to make sure that the world doesn't go to war by basically getting close to a diplomat and potentially assassinating him. We're not sure what he wants to do with him, but basically convincing him not to go to war with this other like rival country. In order to do that, he has to pretend to be a family man, which means he has to get a wife and and children. So he basically goes out, finds a child from an orphanage, and then also goes and like finds and courts a woman and comes like they get married really quickly. What's funny about this show is he is a spy, He accidentally marries a woman that is an assassin, and then
Oh,
the child
shit.
that he has adopted is a telepath.
Oh
And then they
my
now have a
gosh, this
dog.
is
I'm not
getting
gonna tell all
crazy.
that. But yeah. But then none of these people know any of this information about each other.
Right.
So they're basically all pretending to be a normal family, but all of them all have this secret.
While so I'm assuming the telepath knows everything, though.
Yeah, the telepath knows everything.
Oh,
But then she hasn't told anybody that she's a telepath. So no
That's
one knows that she's a
so
telepath.
funny.
So watching them navigate this life where they all pretend to be normal when they all have non-normal lives has been
wow,
super interesting. And I thought the
cool.
show, like most anime that I've been watching recently, has been so dark and
Mhm.
like intense. The Attack on Titan and Hunter x Hunter and stuff like that. This is super lighthearted. It's really cute. It's got a lot of action, but it's still like it maintains like a pretty lighthearted feeling. It's funny. I mean, I fell in love with it. I'm infatuated by the show, and I can't wait to
Nice.
see more of it. It's 2 parts so far. I think it's like 18 episodes. It might only be 16, something like that. But I've
Nice.
been enjoying it a lot. It's mostly dubbed on Hulu, and
Okay.
Crunchyroll, and then of course it's subbed up to episode 16 everywhere else.
Gotcha.
Highly recommend. Definitely one of my
Ooh.
favorites I've watched.
Is
this
it
year.
new?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's fairly new.
Okay.
I think it came out. It might have came out this year,
Oh,
if
wow.
not late
Nice.
last year.
cool.
Very cool.
That sounds really interesting. Well, my thing is not new, but it is a TV show. It's a TV show that came out. I don't even know, several years ago, and I'm actually really curious to see if either of you guys have seen this series.
Firefly.
No, close. It's
Oh no.
it's called Love Island.
Oh my God.
Oh no.
It's taken the
Why?
world by storm, and my wife and I caved in one night, and we actually heard from some friends that season 5 was a hit, so we just kind of
Jesus.
started. We just jumped in right then at season 5.
Oh, thank God. I thought you were saying we like watched all seasons 1 through 4.
No.
So one thing that's awful about Love Island is if you miss a week of television, you've missed 20 episodes of Love Island. Like it's that kind of show.
Yeah. There was a handful of episodes I missed for work and stuff or whatever, but
That's so
but
funny.
the ones that I caught was definitely most of them. And man, it was just, I was like, oh yeah, you can watch that. I'll do something else. And then 5 minutes later, I'm like glued to the couch. Like, what is going to happen next?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so funny.
So for the people that don't know, what is Love Island?
Love Island is a reality show based in, or I think most of the contestants are from Europe, and they go somewhere exotic in Europe as like a big real world style house, and there's just hidden cameras everywhere, and they are supposed to find their forever partner, and I'm pretty sure get married at the end of at the end of the season, at the end of the whole thing, they're like eliminating people down in America, or not America, it's not American Idol. But wherever in the UK the show is televised from, or Europe that it's televised from, gets to vote in on who's gonna go off like the next day or the next
okay.
week or whatever. And then by the end of it, the actual contestants are voting for each other, like who's gonna go home. And the last two people standing, the last couple standing, because everyone's coupled off. The last two people that are standing, they're like, okay, you guys win. You guys collectively are the winners. I think they're given a choice. Do you want to stay together? Or do you want $50,000? Oh no! That's what I thought. That's what I thought was gonna happen, which sounds super interesting. But they were like, "Okay, you win. Here's $50,000.
Oh man,
Do
that's
you want to split that with your partner, and
I
you guys
see.
can
Okay.
enjoy your relationship afterwards, or are you gonna take the whole $50K and say, oh, I was just in it for the money type of thing?"
That's funny. Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, so you just be a shithead. You can just be a shithead and be like, yeah, I just want to take the money.
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean, you get to split the money. I felt like it would have been more entertaining if they were just like, you get all or nothing type of thing. But anyway, the whole show in general, it was a lot of episodes, but that was just the ending. But the whole show is very very enticing and hard to put down for sure.
Yeah, yeah, man. It's something about seeing people just be messy as hell.
Yeah,
so fun to watch.
But they also have they all have British or Scottish accents or something.
Hey, bro. Hey, bro, you want to hang out in it?
Yeah, it just makes the watching so much more enjoyable and hilarious.
Right.
Yeah.
Because usually it's Americans acting a fool, so it's nice to see that it's not just us.
No, British people are as bad. They just have less guns. That's the only thing that separates them from us.
Oh, that's funny.
That's great. I love that.
Great. That's
A
so
slight
funny.
aside, what you're talking about, there is a show that's kind of like that. I don't know if it still exists, but I think it came on Netflix called F Boy Island.
Oh god.
Where
Oh,
basically
I
it was
heard
that
about
same
that.
premise as like Love Island, but it was exactly what you said, where it was like, yeah, you can just be in it. Like people are in there specifically plan it to be for the money,
Oh
and
Damn.
they
shit.
just want to get people to like you, and then be like, oh, I want to go on a date with you, girl. Just kidding. I just want the money. I don't actually love you.
Yep.
And that became
Wow.
what that.
Good
And then you just get the
lord.
$50,000 you get to
I
go.
feel like
That's nuts.
Netflix has got a bunch of like really quirky dating shows that are they're
Yeah.
all starting to blend together. But
Oh, we can talk about Love Is Blind.
Yeah.
I watched Love Is Blind. We can talk about that next time. They're all about psychopaths being psychopaths.
they're
Honestly.
they're all very entertaining.
They are.
Yes.
They are, yeah. That is our show. Listeners, we hope you enjoyed that. Whatever it was. You can email us at thefortress@gmail.com. Fortress spelled FOUR. Feel free to email us any questions, feedback, recommendations, or anything like that. Also, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and the YouTube channel at The Fortress of. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your grandma, tell your cat. Rate and review us, preferably 5 stars. But also, whatever it is you deem worthy of us. Yeah, thank you, Jackie, for helping edit the podcast every week. Thank you, Brian, for the art. Alex for the music. Devin, thank you for being here even when you're not here. You can find Brian at ITZ_by the way. Alex at Peterson Films. And Devin,
He's out there somewhere.
he's out there somewhere. We don't even know.
At this point.
He's on his travels.
Yeah. Next week, I don't know. Minisode, holiday special for Guardians, Andor, which if y'all ain't watching Andor, I'm a weekly reminder, get on.
I need to check out.
It's
Andor,
some
yeah.
damn good TV. Yeah. So we'll see. Hopefully we'll see you listeners. Not see, but you know what I mean. Happy holidays, everyone. And put a code on. It's code out there.
I got my little heater. It's going. It's pretty chilly. Don't laugh at me. I'm doing my best, bro. This is the worst 4 months of the year of every year of my life. I hate it here.
Hey, yeah, welcome to the club.
All right. We'll see you here all next week in another episode of The Fortress of.
Meow, 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 meow.
Meow.